Radio Grade 12s, I'm excited for this video. It's going to be the premiere video of this year. And it's specifically prepared for engineering, graphics and design students, grade 12 for 2020. We're going to discuss in detail paper 1 and paper 2. How do you prepare for that paper? And I'm going to even pile on some marks that is actually free for you to grab in this paper if you know where to look for it. And I'll highlight them as we go through this discussion. You also saw that very first thumbnail of this video where I was sleeping on my drawing board. Now for those of you who thought you can have a shortcut, put your drawing board under your pillow and just sleep on it, and the next morning you'll be a draftsman and you'll nail EGD. I've got news for you. It doesn't work like that. For you to prepare yourselves well, watching this video will help, but what will really help is you actually drawing after drawing after drawing after drawing. That's what you need to do. Draw. And if you've done that and you've watched this video, you've seen all the almost loopholes in the two papers that you'll be writing, I guarantee that you'll be successful in EGD. So let's get right into it. We're going to discuss paper 1 first and then over to paper 2 after that. Let's go. Okay, so I took out of my drawer paper 1, November 2019. It's the most recent copy that I could find for us to discuss. It's 100 marks, 3 hours, similar to your paper. Remember, it initially counts out of 204 questions. This paper counts 25% of your EGD year mark. Can you see how important it is to actually really be well prepared? 25% of your year mark comes from this paper. Before I get to the actual drawing, remember, only your examination number goes here and at the bottom of each and every other page. Please do not enter your name or surname. Only the examination number goes in there. And then paper 1 is first angle orthographic projection. So those of you who not sure about that, this is the actual layout of first angle orthographic. We've got our front view here, okay, top view here, 45 goes here and left here. If we're adding a right view, it goes on this side, okay. Now the symbol, the projection symbol, you all know looks like this, okay. That's the front view of it, and here is the left view of it, okay. And there we have our center lines. Don't forget them. Center lines is going to be important, okay. So the front view, this part is actually placed here. Let me use a different color. Front view goes here and our left view goes here, right? Just drawing this quickly for you to keep with me. Our top view will look exactly the same than the front view, and our right view, if I look at the right from this, it's cone, it's only going to be my circle. Okay, that's where this comes from. That is here the first angle orthographic projection symbol, and this will be the layout of all drawings in this paper. Take note of that. Okay, so let's get going here on the first question. Now the first question only counts 30 marks, but it is a gift, ladies and gentlemen, an absolute gift. If you think of the time spent on this paper, okay, your total is 200, okay. Your first question is 30 marks, okay. Your second question, 39, so 37 for your second question. Question 3 is roughly 39, and the fourth one is 94, I believe. Okay, that gives you a total of 200, okay. Now just take a moment here. If we spend an hour and a half, because this is almost half of the marks, okay, 1 hour and 30 minutes, and we give a 30-minute to each one of these, roughly, okay, and we spend 15 minutes on the first question, it gives us 2 hours and 45 minutes, which leaves us 15 minutes at the end to go through the drawings and double check. And I'll show you what to check for to really make sure you haven't missed any marks that was gifted to you. Okay, so what I do is I add the extra 10 minutes on for reading time right here on top, which actually gives me 3 hours and 10 minutes. If you use this 10 minutes correct, and this is how you're going to use it. Yes, you can quickly do a page through, okay, but I want you to spend time in that 10 minutes, take your finger and read through each part of this given information page. Look at the corner rights, understand the symbols, look through the drawing. Here you can already see there's things here that might be new to you, okay? It shouldn't, but it might be. Just make sure you take cognizance of all of this. See who's drawn this drawing, when was it devised, who's the company. Make sure you get that, because these will all be helpful when answering your questions. I'm going to show you a couple of tricks that they have in here. Okay, so the first couple of questions is quite easy. Who prepared the drawing? What is the drawing number? What's company? Date? That's all easy. Okay, contractors. What is the finishing on the pathway? That's also, you're able to read it here. Okay, it's given to you. Okay, let's see. What is the finish on the pathway? Now, for instance, there you can see the symbol, all right, for the pathway. And it says gravel there. You see it's hidden. It wasn't indicated here, but it was actually hidden for you. Okay, so they won't ask you a question where they're not giving you the answer from. You just have to go find it. What color is used to represent the new sewer lines on a drainage plan? Now, you all know sewer lines is brown, right? Now, look what they've done. They've added new to just throw you. Don't fall for their tricks, okay? New. The answer is still brown. Okay, abbreviation is built-in cupboard that you know. Okay, here's another trick. Let's look at this. What does the broken line at 1 indicate? Okay, if you look at this, it says existing outbuilding with an arrow to it, and 1 points to the broken line given. Now that, in fact, means that this existing outbuilding must be demolished. So you can't just write existing outbuilding, okay? The key here is demolished, okay? Anything on the site plan that's drawn with broken lines, let's say a building or a pathway, a driveway, the moment it's broken lines, you need to add demolished to your answer. Gesloop in Afrikaans, nee, demolished. Okay, what does symbol 2 indicate? Let's see if we can find that one quickly here. Where's 2? Okay, 2 is the north arrow. What is the abbreviation of the component that you will find at junction at 3? Okay, so you all know sewer detail. That's of course the IE, the inspection I that's missing here. Inspeksie oog in Afrikaans. Okay, name the feature at 4. Again, it's given here on top. It's the shrubbery. It's a symbol that we all know that's a tree, but they've just added something here to throw you. That's going to be your tree. What are the final 2 components of the sewer system? Okay, and this comes out of the PAT of 2019. They had to do a septic tank with a French drain. Okay, that's added after it. So please, the last 2 components, if you look at our sewer line, it's the septic tank and the French drain. So think about your PAT and think, what was the things there? You had a veranda, you had a carport. So just think of your PAT. What might, be inserted here that you could fall back on. Okay, let's go on to the last couple of questions here. In the space below, determine the total length of the perimeter of the stand in meters. So again, answer must be in meters. And of course, there you're going to get your boundary lengths from the list that is provided for you. Okay, when you get to the total area, they've given you this drawing here, and people, again, make sure the answer here must be in square meters. The measurements given is in millimeters, so you have to convert these millimeters to meters. So it's easy. 8,300, is 8.3, 5,300, 5.3, all right? Now, when you do your calculation, what's the easiest? If we look at this facility, what's the easiest? If we break it down into 3 components, A, B, and C, it's easy to determine the square area of A. It's easy enough to do B and C. We can determine what's that length, so we know that length. And I can just add those 3 together. But make sure your answer is in square meters or you're going to get penalized. Okay, that's going to be the important one here. And then they will always ask you for a neat freehand. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do not draw this freehand, you'll be losing marks. And this is now a single wall-mounted urinal. Again, it's first angle orthographic. So your front view of that urinal must be freehand, and the front view needs to be on the top. Okay, your top view is going to be at the bottom, And for you to even impress them more, you can add your XY here. Okay, but that's a symbol and it must be done freehand. Make sure you read the symbols. It's always learn the symbols. It's always part of this drawing. And you can see here, it's 4 marks. So it's not to be wasted. Let's go on to question number 2. And it is an interpenetration and development, which of course you can really prepare for. But let's show you how this works. Okay, they're going to ask you to draw to a scale 1 to 1 the following views. You're going to have a given view to be drawn, a right view, left view, and you're going to then have to complete things. But just look at the marks here for a moment. Okay, the top view, the given top view, that's 7.5 marks already. If you can just redraw this here. Okay, so even if you cannot draw this drawing, maybe you get stuck, you're unsure, you get a panic. You only get a panic if you haven't drawn enough. But drawing the top view, that's already 7.5 marks for you. The right view, of course, here it's going to be important to remember your first angle of the graphic projection. If they've given you the front view and the top view, then your right view is going to be on this end, right? Okay, so your placement is going to be important. That is an auxiliary view. Remember that, okay? And then you grade 12, but they can use elements that you learned in grade 10. For instance, how to draw a hexagon. Here's a hexagon. I won't be surprised if you see a pentagon or an octagon. So make sure you look at that grade 10 work, how to draw these different shapes. And the key here is it's at 45 degrees. But that I'm sure you'll be able to navigate. And then you're going to have to complete, of course, your curve of interpenetration here, and you'll have to develop that surface. You can look at some of my previous videos if you wanted to see in detail how to do this. Let's go on to the definite highlight of all of your drawings, and that is question 3, which is your perspective drawing. Now, it's going to overwhelm you, I think, at first sight, but don't fear. You know the steps, and if you've practiced this enough, this is marks in the bank, people. Okay, let's look at this. Again, on the assessment criteria, it gives you some indication what they're looking for. Construction, 6 marks. Ladies and gentlemen, that is to determine your vanishing points. I'll just do this roughly here, okay? It's this dot plus labeling, left vanishing point. Same with your right one, parallel from the SP to the picture plane down. Don't think it's wrong because you're here in the middle of your drawing, okay? Mark it clearly, right vanishing point. That's marks, that's marks. If you don't label it, no marks. Then the other part that's marks in the construction part is actually bringing a corner down to the picture plane and then down to the ground line. That's another part of the construction marks here. Okay, I haven't even drawn the drawing yet, but I already got 6 drawings in the marks in the bank. So look at the walls, doors, roof, and then the arc there is again 7 marks. Okay, so this arc here, if you have a circle, you're not sure what to do, you divide it into 12 equal parts using your 30-60 degree. Okay, that's already marks here, and you can number it. Okay. 7. All right, you can number it. It shows that you're confident and you know what you're doing. Okay, and those lengths here you can also bring over to this here and bring your numbering across. That's already marks for the construction of this arc. All right, and from there, of course, it's going to go down. I'm not going to go into detail, but please take time, visualize, try and visualize this home in your mind before you start drawing, and just use your steps. There's also some additional details given. Make sure you understand that, what this ramp looks like. A last step before we move on to our civil is the fact that, remember, any part here that's touching the picture plane will be also in line with the ground line here at the bottom. Okay, so you can know that corner will be right there, this ramp's corner right here, the corner of that wall right here. It does, however, if it's a raised roof, of course, then you know you'll have to make the construction. But just take note, touching the picture plane here goes right onto the ground line. Okay, that's the 2-point perspective. I hope you're keeping up with me. Now, This is where the real money is. Okay, it's your question 4, your civil drawing. Now, again, if you have time in your reading time, take time to read this through, because they are going to give you absolutely everything. Look here, what do we have here? Okay, we've gotten an incomplete floor plan, but they've got so much detail here. They've shown us the downpipes, they've shown us the window placings, the roof lines, the doorways, where the placement of the toilet is, the bath is, the basin is, the doorways. This is just crazy, the amount of information here. Even on the right hand side, they detail for you your electrical fittings. All right, so let's look at that. That's a one-way switch going to number 3, which is a fluorescent light. Okay, and they actually have that symbols for you here on the side. Okay, same with the fixtures. They're giving you the measurements, but remember, you're going to use the sun symbols when we actually draw it. All right. Then on our incomplete north elevation, again, whole bunch of detail. You can go through that. They show you the roof cap, the ridge cover. They show you measurements. Why? Because you need to draw this to scale. Okay. Window openings, placement of the windows. You can see that in line with the door, top of the door, the steps, the height of the door, the detail here on the gutter. There's no way that you can copy this and really lose marks. It's already given to you. Okay. Window schedules. There you can have a look at that. They give you the different roof components and your section. This detail here is key for you. It's details of how to draw the section. They really just left out the window here. So please take time, read through this, understand your roof diagram, roof notes. Okay, before you actually start reading your question. Okay, familiarize yourself with the information and then you go. Now let's look at the actual answer sheet here, because here's a couple of keys again. Okay, in the mark allocation on the side, they tell you exactly what they're looking for. And this is where, in those 10-15 minutes that you have left at the end of the paper, where you can go back and double check that you haven't missed anything. You can check doors and windows, 11 marks. Okay, let me go check. Did I complete all the windows, doors correctly? The fixtures, you can go check them, etc. The penalty box here on top, I call it, this also helps you. Incorrect scales used, you will be penalized, okay? And you can see there, they've indicated for you what scales for the sectional elevation, 1 to 20. The floor plan and your elevation is going to be 1 to 50, okay? Non-alignment of views, what do they mean by that? If you look at your question, okay, you can actually see that the lines, the view align. There's a wall, there's the wall. There's the end of the roof, okay? You see this corner, it aligns, okay? Your door, your steps, also your furthest wall, your rainwater pipe, there's a rainwater pipe, okay? So that's what they mean with alignment. Now, they've given to you the incomplete elevation, and look here, all you need to do is copy these marks upward, directly upward in construction, okay? Upward, we're doing the north elevation. So you can just go project that upward. That's going to help you to know your measurements here. All right, you're going to, of course, have your natural ground level going. And then you're going to use the actual drawing that they've given you to complete this. It's marks in the bank, people. You can't fault this. Okay, when we get to the sectional elevation, they've given you the start. What's this? This is the actual foundation. And you're going to use scale 1 to 20. Using these measurements here, that's the given one, okay? That's my concrete foundation, okay? And you are going to complete this. They give you the window for this section is window number 2, and that's going to be, there it is, window number 2. So they give you the heights of that window. That's your details that you're going to enter. Okay, let me show you just the answer here for that section. Okay, this is the actual memorandum, so you can see how this works. Okay, make sure you get your hatching right. You have your wall hatching. They're looking to see the line of the damp-proof course. Make sure you indicate that natural ground level. Your compact fill concrete. There's the bath. Remember, that's a symbol for a bath. It's a side view. There's your window. We want to see the concrete fill underneath the window sill. We want to see these two lines in the center of the window. We want to see the lintel. And yes, here we go. The actual purlins, okay? spaced correctly as indicated in the question, and your corrugated iron roof sheet going into your gutter. And what is this? This is the face, the barge board, the inside of the barge board. You can see here, if I'm looking in the direction of the arrows, and I've cut through here, there's a barge board on this end. You remember in the question it showed it, I think it's 300. That's that actual barge board. So your height here must be 300. Okay, make sure you get your reach plate correct, your truss design, and you'll absolutely nail this answer. It's going to be a partial section like you see here, most likely. Okay, you can see here the section line doesn't go all the way through, so just a partial section. If you can read, you can achieve, people. Okay, that's a quick discussion on paper 1. I'm confident that you will really do well in this one. Let's go over to paper 2. Right here, paper 2, I've already discussed the front cover. I'm not going to do that again. What I want to highlight is the fact that paper 2 is third angle orthographic projection. All of the drawings here is third angle orthographic projection. So your layout is going to be top, front, right, left with your 245s. That means your symbol is first of all the left view symbol. Okay, remember your center lines here, and then the front view part of it. That's a third angle orthographic symbol, and that's going to help you to remember what's the layout like. Okay, time allocation is going to be the same as discussed in the first one. Hour and a half on question number 4, half an hour on the 2 in between, and 15 minutes question number 1. So let's look at question number 1, because there's quite a few of nice snippets here that I'd like to share with you. Okay, so in your reading time, please take a moment to study again what is given here. Understand what it is you're looking at. This is a cast form, and that actually helps you to understand what is given. Okay, you're going to of course be able to see most of the details in here. Make sure you look at what finish is used, what dimensions is in millimeters, unspecified radii 4 millimeters, the scale, those kind of things. Have a look at that, and then you start going through your questions. Let's look at number 7. Okay, what is the type of section view RR? This is a very common question, giving you a section which is not just a full section or a partial section. This in case is a removed section. Okay, you can see where the section line is, but it's removed. So make sure you learn those different kind of sections that you can experience. Then the cutting plane, that's also an interesting one. Let's look at the top view here. You can see it's almost stepped here. This type of cutting plane is a multi-plane or an offset cutting plane. Okay, so make sure you know that as well. Then, when we get to determine the complete dimensions at A, B, C, it's always part of the questions. Remember, they're not asking you to take a scale ruler and measure it. That's a catch. You need to actually be able to calculate it from the given information. So let's look at that. A here, what's the complete dimension? Now A, I couldn't find any radii specification, but look what it says here at the bottom. All unspecified radii are 4 millimeters. Okay, so you need to make sure when you answer that you put the radius and then 4. Okay, that's part of your answer. If you just have 4 wrong, make sure you add the radius, because that would have been the actual measurement here, would have read R4. Okay, so keep it authentic. B, I'm going to just show you B quickly. Alright, this is also a good one. Again, a catch here. You can see unspecified, and I can't see B's measurement anywhere. Okay, but they give you a clue here. 45 degrees, if that's 15, then we know if this side's 15, then that must be 15. So that would be your measurement then for B, 15. C, okay, how do we get C? If you look here on top, there they actually tell you radius 6. It's for this arc here. Now, if I have 6 and 6, it gives me 12. Now, this measurement, it's a measurement symbol here. It's not the radii or diameter, so make sure you can just write 12 there. And then D, okay, that one you can calculate. That's easier to do. And E is the other one that I wanted to show you. That is your internal screw thread here, and that's going to be diameter 7. Okay, how do I know it is a diameter 7? If you look, it's a M10 with a thread of 1.5. So I've got 1.5 on either side. So if I take 10 minus 1.5 minus 1.5, I get my diameter 7. That one was 84. Okay, then the other thing that I wanted to highlight you here, number 14, how many surfaces of the jig must be machined? Now, if you look at this, there's nothing in the top view indicated. It's only here on the sectional front view. These are the symbols. So that's 1, that's a surface, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, a lot of learners who just count that and write 6. They expect you, it's engineering, graphics, and design, you need to problem solve. That's not as easy as it's going to get. Look at this quickly. Do you see here that this part actually refers to this part of this component? But because of the cutting plane, this one is excluded. So there's actually, if this surface here is machined, that surface must be machined. So we're now up to 7, plus this is again the same. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus 7 plus 8. The correct answer here is 8. So make sure you don't just write the easy answer, but see which surface does each one refer to, and if there's more than one, you have to count that with it. Okay. Hatching mistake done in view 1. Hatching here is in opposite direction. Remember, it's a casting, so hatching needs to be in the same direction here. Okay, just make sure you take time to read through that. They're going to add a question on machining and welding, so make sure you learn those symbols, and it's in your workbooks. Make sure about that. Then here's your gift, the absolute gift. They're giving away marks. You won't believe it. Number 18, and this question has been in all the papers. Draw a neat freehand the symbol for the projection system used. Now we know it's third angle, right? Now if you cannot remember what is the orthographic symbol, what does it look like? Here's the cheat. Page 2, the civil page, where they actually give you this. And you'll see in the bottom right corner the symbol that you need to draw. So it's a gift, 4 marks right there. You just take it, keep an eye out. You're not cheating. It's absolutely legal. I've told you here online first. There you go. Draw it in. Make sure you add this hatching center line. 4 marks. 1, 2, 3, 4 in the bank. And you can know you get those marks. Okay, so that was the first question. Second question. Okay, now in this year's paper, they actually said it's going to be a part. You're definitely getting a loci of a cam, but it can also then be a loci of a helix or a loci of a mechanism. So make sure you know how to do all the locus. You're going to get 2 of the 3. In this paper, it was also only this main one, which is a good practice for you. Okay, the key here for you is for you to be able to understand this motion and draw your own displacement diagram. Without a displacement diagram, you are going to be in trouble. So make sure, if you're not sure how to do locus, they've said it's going to be part of this paper. You can watch some of my previous videos, but make sure you nail it. You're able to do locus. Again here, you can look here. They ask you to draw the given, the minimum distance, and the center lines. Don't forget the center lines. Learners forget them. That's at least 5 marks there of the 38. Okay. Your displacement diagram, that's 7. Displacement graph is 7. The graph construction, how you construct it, that's a 7. Your cam, and that's the center with your 12 divisions. You all can do it. And then the cam curve and quality, that's another 11. So I'll just show you the quick, upside down, answer to this question. So here you can see all the different marks. Make sure you have your direction of rotation. Make sure you do your divisions, your center lines, and you label this displacement diagram. Don't forget that. That's marks for you. Okay, let's go on to the next one, which will be an isometric drawing. Now here again, it's third angle orthographic, so this view is going to be your left view. This is your front, and your top, right? So when you do placement, a lot of learners get this wrong. You're going to have your front here, okay, and your left on this side. Make sure you get your orientation correct, okay, and at least start this drawing off. You can again see here, construction is all part of this placement, getting the placement correct. Here they give you P, make sure you get P on the starting point. Okay, that's your isometric drawings, but practicing this will really give you confidence when you get to isometric drawings, and really 20 minutes, 30 minutes at the most you should allocate for these drawings. Make sure, I always took a stopwatch. If I drew this drawing first time in my practicing, I maybe drew it for 45 minutes. I take that same drawing, clean a piece of paper, and I try and redraw it, getting it down to 30 minutes or less. Practice makes perfect. Okay, let's get to the casting. We'll do an in-depth discussion of the mark allocation in a moment, but this can so easily overwhelm you. But what you need to do is, you need to look at, remember it's third angle orthographic projection, but they're grouping the different. So just take even a pen if you have to, and just group for yourself what goes with each other, just to not confuse. That's a separate part from these two. Although they're very close to each other, it's a separate part. All right, again here, the pin. Remember, it's going to be a front view and a left view. Here it's going to be a front view and a top view. How they ever set it, make sure you understand. Top view, front view, exactly the same. Here you've got your bush. All right, it's two separate items here. Okay, make sure you understand how they go together. You can see the parts on the side. Look at the materials used. Okay, and then the other key here is your exploded isometric drawing. Just to understand how all these different parts go together. Another tip that I'd like to give you is, look at the measurements. If I look at this shaft, which is number 4, okay, our spur gear, that diameter M20 fits into this diameter 20. Do you see that? How they line up there? Okay. So make sure your measurements fit each other. That gives you an indication which goes over which. If you look at this bush here, not sure where this goes. Let's look here. It's an inner diameter of 42, an outer diameter of 52. But it's this diameter 42 that's important for you to double check. That's exactly the same as the outer diameter of the shaft. There you can see that's the 42. So take a time to see how these parts fit together, and the measurements will line up. I can promise you that. When you then get to drawing, make sure you plan well enough, and they've caught learners out. Okay. In this case, they're wanting a top view and a sectional front view. It's actually happened that they only ask for a sectional front view, and some learners still draw a top view or right view or left view. It's a waste of time. Make sure you understand that you only draw what's required. In this case, it was a sectional front view and a top view. So you're going to have your top view and your front view with your XY between them. And then just check here the penalties: incorrect overall scale, incorrect hatching, parts not assembled. So if you just draw the parts all over the place, that's going to help you. You need to assemble it, otherwise you'll be penalized. Okay, and then here right at the end, the center lines, that's 3 marks. Don't forget about that. Okay, that's a quick talk through these 2 papers. I'm just going to put up now for you one slider that gives you an overview of the actual grade 12 papers, paper 1 and paper 2, and how it was set up, which drawings you can expect. It's a summary of this discussion. You can have a look at that. Make sure you follow the column on the left for paper 1 and paper 2 on the right, and you'll see there what it's all going to be about. I wish you all the best. Please watch some of my other videos if you get stuck doing revision, but I'm confident that you'll nail this. Don't go put your drawing board underneath your pillow. That's not going to work. You need to draw, draw, draw. And as I tell my learners always, if you can read, you can achieve. So make sure when you do get your papers, you read and answer what is required. Okay, all the best. Now it's your turn.